Okay, hello there. Let me move this. So, hello there. Welcome to Lights Camera Podcast with Zain and me, Ramzan. So today we thought of maybe doing something a bit shorter and a bit different, where we just kind of have more of an informal discussion about some kind of topics on film which just spring to mind, and kind of off the cuff talk about a few different things. That's the plan. Let me have a look. I've written down. I'll be looking at my phone a little bit because I wrote some of these
same.
down. So, do you want to go first, or should I?
I can start. So one of the things we did say we could talk about was what is your most anticipated movie for the rest of the year, basically, what's left of it.
Okay, yeah. So this is on my question. That's good. Probably, it's a good question. Probably, it's not really for this year. I mean, it kind of is in that it's released in January. It's so I mean, if we allow that one, but then I'll give another one.
All
So
right.
like, probably if we allow that one, then it's The Lighthouse, which I'm really looking forward to kind of seeing, because it's one that seems very unusual. Like, it's a horror with William Dafoe and Robert Pattinson, and it seems very exciting from the trailer. It's an A24 film, and I really like how, again, it's in black and white, which I think will really give it a very unique and different feel to the movie. So that's something which I'm really looking forward to. In terms of this year, probably the film next which I would be looking forward to is The Joker, which is, I think that's like the next big one of the year, which is probably maybe the biggest for the rest of the year that's coming out. I haven't actually fully watched the Batman films.
Really?
No, yeah. So that's like everyone has films, which big films which I haven't watched.
That's
And for me, it's the Batman films and Godfather films.
I think for me it's Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, Lord of the Rings, man. This guy needs to watch Lord of the Rings, seriously.
Needs to watch Godfather and Batman movies.
Yeah, so definitely before it's released. Has it been released yet? It hasn't.
Not in the UK. It's coming out next Friday. Or Friday,
Next Friday.
whatever that is.
Yeah, so definitely before then I want to, watch. I've only watched one of the Batman movies. I
Which
think
one?
it was the second one.
The Joker one?
No, I can't remember. It was quite a while ago.
Okay.
Because what are the three again? Batman.
There's Batman Begins, The Dark Knight, and The Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah. So I think I've seen The Dark Knight.
Yeah, so that's the one with the Joker in it.
Okay, yeah. So, catch up on that, and it looks very exciting. The reviews are really good.
Yeah.
Anyway, and from the trailer as well, it looks like it will be very, very interesting. What about yourself?
No, I agree. I think even from the start of this year, my most anticipated movie would have been the Joker movie.
And
Just
why
from,
is that?
Just from the initial kind of promo that was released for it, it looked very, very different. I think it's the most unique take on the Joker so far. We've seen loads of portrayals of him in movies and like cartoon TV shows and stuff. But a lot of the movie versions deal with the Joker character, and often we don't see where he came from in his background. But this is kind of like the origin story, which a lot of the time is kind of overplayed, and people don't really like origin stories now. They've kind of gotten sick with it. But I think this is a very a character where he's so complex and interesting that you want to see what makes him the way he is. So I think that should be good, especially after the last Joker we got. With in Suicide Squad, that was a bit of a letdown.
Yeah. Who was that?
That was Jared Leto.
Oh, yeah.
He's a good actor, but that year that was a bit disappointing.
Yeah, I haven't properly watched Suicide Squad, as in I've watched bits of it.
Yeah, same.
But yeah, what put me off it was kind of what I had seen of it, the clips and stuff.
Yeah.
It just seemed more gimmicky rather than, the Batman movies, again, from what I've seen and remember, which is not fantastic. It's a bit more darker and a bit more like grimy.
Yeah.
And I think that's what people want more from the Joker.
Mm.
I feel like, that's what the audience want. And definitely from the trailer, it seems, and even from the posters that I've seen around, it does seem like very like, underground like type, the green dark colors.
Exactly. Yeah.
These like dark colors which are really like associated with the comic books, like,
Mm.
you know, and it just feels like it really fits with the character that
Mm.
everyone, has in mind when they think of the Joker, rather than the Joker being like more of a like, childish type character, more of bringing him together as like a fully formed villain.
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean?
Yeah. No, you absolutely. The color palette of the movie looks like perfect for what it's trying to portray.
Yeah.
And I think Joaquin Phoenix is like an amazing actor, so he could do like I'm expecting him to do a very good job with it. It's not someone who I would have. If you were to ask me who would you want to play Joker, it's not the first thing that would come to
Who
mind.
would have you have chosen if you were to
Oof.
choose?
That's a difficult question. I actually don't know. I'm trying to think of. Man.
Because actors a lot better than I do.
Yeah, but I don't know off the cuff. I mean, for some reason, DiCaprio came to mind.
Mhm.
But I'm thinking of his performance from Django.
Yeah.
That kind of very crazy.
What
bizarre
about someone
type
like?
person.
Do you think someone like Robert Downey Jr. or someone could do it, or do you
Yeah,
think it
I
would
mean-
become too gimmicky with putting someone like
Yeah, I
him?
think he's already Iron Man. Like you could never. I don't think
Yeah.
you'd ever not be able to see him as in a superhero or supervillain movie as anyone but Iron Man.
Yeah,
Do you see what
yeah.
I mean?
Or what's the other guy who played Pirates of the Caribbean? Johnny Depp.
Johnny Depp. I don't know.
Do you think he could pull it off?
Yeah, that's true. Actually, I guess he has that.
From Charlie and the Chocolate Factory was a bit crazy. Maybe he can like, but I don't know if he played a dark role good.
Yeah,
Like-
it might just come across as kind of like comedic.
Funny, yeah.
opposed
Which
to-
is what would make the film kind of you going away unsatisfied? As in, what don't you want to see in this movie?
What don't I want to see? I want them to really break down the character.
Hmm.
And,
Do you want a
what I'm
character Do you want to be able to like have a character analysis
Yeah.
and therefore, I would suppose, form like an understanding of the character better?
Yeah.
That's
So what I'm
yeah.
expecting is a character study
Yeah.
of seeing what makes him switch, what makes him turn.
Yeah.
Because it seems from the trailer, it seems like he's very innocent and very not the Joker that we
Yeah,
see.
yeah, exactly.
So what is it that causes this change? Basically, is it
Mm.
one thing? Is it multiple things?
Mm.
Is it just that it's slowly breaking down of his will, basically? That's what I'm expecting to see. But so far, everything looks good from what I've seen. So, I'm hoping I'm not disappointed, basically. And from what I've seen, I don't expect to be.
So it looks promising so far,
Yeah,
which is good. Yeah,
Definitely.
it's definitely looking forward to that. That's something that hopefully we can see together.
So there was another one as well, actually, which kind of seemed to come out of nowhere. And there's another A24 film. For people who don't know, A24 is a film studio. I'm pretty sure they're like a production studio who they've made a lot of films now. They've done Green Room, they did Hereditary, The Witch. I think they do Midsummer as well.
Yeah, they did
Yeah.
Midsummer.
They've done a lot of films which they're not really blockbusters, but they're more. They're usually quite critically acclaimed, and
Yeah.
they're often maybe a bit abstract or a bit different
Yeah.
from what you normally see.
They do a lot of sci-fi type films,
Yeah.
it seems as well. And I think A24, they have more like not cult following, that's the wrong term to use, but they have like audience that is like they have like a fan base.
Yeah.
They have like a fan base audience
Definitely.
in the same way, and having a smaller fan base audience, it's I don't know, it's I feel like when we went to see Midsummer, I imagine everyone there kind of looked like the type of
Yeah, I
people
know what you
who,
mean.
do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They would know about A24. They would have watched previous films
Yeah.
by A24. So it's quite nice having that kind of.
Yeah.
This is a bit tangential, but yeah, they do have their own like fan base and
Yeah. They're the movie buffs type people.
yeah, movie buffs.
As opposed to your general audience, I guess.
Exactly, yeah. It's a bit more
Niche.
niche.
Yeah, that's definitely true. And I guess it is nice to have that. But I think they are growing, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
You know, I think some of their movies have been nominated and won Oscars and stuff. So they're definitely getting themselves out there. But recently there was a trailer for one of their movies called Uncut Gems. Don't know if you've heard of it. Have you seen it?
Yeah, I've definitely heard of it.
It's
Yeah.
got Adam Sandler in it as the lead.
Really?
Which was really surprising.
So what is it about?
So it seems to be about Adam Sandler. I think he plays like a jeweler.
Okay.
And he essentially gets himself into some kind of trouble.
Yeah.
He's like betting he's betting other people's money.
Yeah.
And losing it, and so he's got people after him.
Is it too late?
And it just seems like he seems
Is it,
like he
is
works
it comedy or?
No, it's like a drama, like what you'd expect from an A24 film.
Mm.
But people are like, oh, Adam Sandler could win an Oscar for this performance, which is just crazy to me.
Is that the reviews or like?
I think I saw a newspaper,
Yeah.
a news article that said that, which might be just like clickbait or something. But from their A24 track record,
Yeah.
it's completely. And what I saw in the trailer is very possible. He didn't
Yeah.
get nominated.
Because that guy, like, he made some. Adam Sandler's a guy who, I feel almost like a sense of loss off the guy in the sense that, like, he made some really good, funny films, like back in the 2000s, and I think they were late 90s as well. Like I think it was Big Daddy was
Big
one of
Daddy.
them. Happy Gilmore.
Yeah.
There are a bunch of others as well. Click, he was in Click.
Yeah.
And these are really good family films that are really
they?
fun.
Why didn't you just go home? That's your home! Are you too good for your home? Answer me!
Well, not necessarily adult family films, I would say. Like, I'd
Yeah.
watch it with, like Happy Gilmore. Well, no, actually, they're like light-hearted
Yeah.
comedy films.
Yeah. You
And
can just kind of turn your brain off and watch it. and
yeah,
enjoy it.
yeah. And they were very entertaining. And I really like those. But then he kind of came out and ended up doing like a load of absolute dud films with
Yeah.
like, kind of like like a load of like the like Netflix type films, which were just like, along with other like has-been, like these other like, has-been American kind of, like Vince Vaughn and like
Yeah.
those guys
Wow.
who
Firing shots.
but the thing is, they were all really good. But then in some of their like recent ones, it's just like filled with like fart jokes,
But to be honest, I think
stupid humor. But it's
Yeah.
actually like, the story is not good either, and I think that the
No.
comedy is not well pulled off.
Yeah. No, I think he just didn't really evolve.
Hmm.
I think he was doing the same thing back then, but back then it was part of the times, and that was the trend at the time.
Yeah,
He just never moved on with the times.
yeah,
Like that movie Jack and Jill.
yeah,
Remember
yeah,
that?
That was terrible, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
But yeah, and it just never kind of people got bored basically, I think.
yeah.
But now it seems like he's
Maybe he's making his comeback.
maybe he could win an Oscar, so that's pretty crazy. So I'm looking forward to that, and I think that's coming out at the end of this year, maybe early next year.
Yeah.
But that would be a good one to watch.
Yeah, that'd be interesting to see his glamorous return,
Yeah.
Especially in a serious role.
Yeah, he's done a few serious roles before.
Hmm.
There's a film called Punch Drunk Love.
Hmm.
I haven't seen it, but I've heard it's like a bit more of a serious role for him. But yeah, what's your favorite Adam Sandler movie?
It's a tricky one. It is a tricky one. I do really like Happy Gilmore.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember them from the top of my head because I haven't seen one in a while.
So I think I like Waterboy.
Oh,
I
yeah.
have a soft spot for Waterboy.
Yeah. I've only seen a little bit of Waterboy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never watched the whole thing.
Waterboy, Longest Yard.
Longest Yard. I haven't seen Longest Yard. No.
Yeah, I'd go with Happy Gilmore as well. Actually, I think that's a classic.
Yeah. I just think that's like. It's just one that you can watch and you just smile like
Yeah.
watching it.
Yeah, like I think we were talking in the last few episodes. We talked about how some of the films aren't really rewatchable,
Yeah.
but they're amazing films.
Yeah.
This isn't an amazing film, but it's so rewatchable.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
You can see it just over and over again.
Yeah, I agree. And the thing is I feel like what will also be interesting is a lot of actors because they're so well known for a particular genre of
Yeah.
movie, is how the audience, how is their act good enough to kind of convince the audience that they're this different role?
Definitely.
You know, like similar with Daniel Radcliffe. You know, he's
Mm.
actually done quite a lot of acting roles since Harry Potter. He's done, and he did. I think one of the first ones he did after was Woman in Black,
Yeah.
and then he did like a number of small movies. He did like one neo-Nazi like movie where he was like
yeah, yeah.
a neo-Nazi.
Swiss
um,
Army Man.
Yeah, and again, it's kind of like he's a bit different because he's like a global, worldwide phenomenon. I think,
Harry Potter.
yeah, compared to Adam Sandler, but still, it's interesting to see how they kind of
Yeah.
go. on
I
from
think
that.
it's called typecasting, where
Mm.
they're just one role. Like Jason Statham is an action star, and that's all he really gets casted as.
Mhm.
Even if you wanted to do other types of movies, people wouldn't cast him just because they see him as that one thing.
Yeah, yeah.
And yeah, but you do see a few examples of where people break that.
Mhm.
And it's good.
Yeah, definitely.
So what would you say has been your best movie that you've seen so far this year?
Yeah, that I was trying to think. I was trying to think earlier actually of this because that was a question also I had for you. And I was trying to actually remember all the films I have seen this year.
Yeah.
Um,
It doesn't have to be a movie that came out this year, just one that you've seen this year.
just one that
let's
I've
put it that
seen
way.
this year.
Because I don't think I've seen that many movies that have come out this year.
Yeah, yeah. Probably actually one of my favorites, genuinely, in that it's kind of, it still stuck with me even like a few weeks after, was the one we watched recently. The First They Killed My Father. As in that was a movie which, even now, I still kind of think about it as like, that was a very good movie. There's a few other films I have watched this year. I need to like have a think over the episode. But is there one that you would say?
Yeah, it's difficult. I think maybe Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah,
That was a solid movie.
yeah, that was a
Um,
solid movie.
I don't know, but I don't know if I can say it was my favorite movie of this year.
Toy Story.
Yeah, maybe potentially, because
Mm.
that was also like such a nostalgic movie to watch,
Mm.
considering like Toy Story was such a big part of my childhood, and it lived up to all the other ones.
Yeah.
Like, number 3 came out, even number 3 came out like 8 years ago.
Yeah.
No,
Oh, I
probably
think even longer than that.
Really?
I think it came out in like 2010.
Wow.
Yeah.
But I consider seeing that. I consider that recent.
Yeah, it feels very
Yeah.
recent. Feels very
Just
recent.
because I'm always thinking of it in comparison to the first two, which came out when I was. The first one came out the year I was born.
Yeah,
See
yeah,
what I mean? But number 4 was just as good as all the others.
yeah.
I was when I first heard it was announced because number 3 finished so on
Well.
such a full stop, like just ended the whole thing perfectly. I just thought, number 4 is going to be kind of like a
Another rip off, like.
just like a money grab basically.
Yeah, yeah.
But it wasn't. It was actually well thought out and it was well made.
Yeah, I agree. I remember actually, it was something that we had discussed because I remember when they announced it and you posted it on the group,
Yeah.
and we were like, oh god, like another Disney remake. Like, it's not obviously a reboot or whatever, but it's like nowadays has become a lot of that kind of making like number 2 of movies that were made like in 1990, in the 90s and early 2000s.
Yeah.
For this kind of new generation of kids who would have watched those big classics like Finding Nemo and whatever, but much younger than when we did, and so they're just kind of adding that on because they've got like a new group of generation of kids they can kind of give that to, in addition to us who want to watch it.
Exactly.
But actually, yeah, they really did pull it off, and they pulled it off quite well. So like, I feel like Finding Nemo 2. I enjoyed Finding Nemo 2, or Finding Dory, wasn't it? Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I quite liked it. I didn't think it was as good as the first
Yeah.
one, but I didn't think it was bad.
You really didn't like Inside Out, right?
Oh, Inside Out was atrocious. I really didn't like that movie.
Yeah.
I thought it was actually, yeah. This would be a good question. So, yeah, probably one of two most, like, in terms of animated films, because it's easier to keep it like specific, would be, which I don't like, is Cars and Inside Out. Cars I just found so dull and so
Really?
boring. Yeah, I just found it like, which is strange because I feel like, you know, we're the type of people that, you know, we don't require lots of like flashy things going on. We don't require, but for me, the movie, that just the dialogue was boring, the story was dull, the characters were unengaging. I didn't really like them, and in the same way with Inside Out, I didn't like the characters very much. I thought the concept was interesting, like the way they had made the world. I liked that on like the inside. I thought that was really quite inventive. But I think that was the only part which I liked. I thought that the storyline was quite. They could have done much better with it, rather than this like really irritating, self-obsessed, spoilt brat girl who like doesn't improve at all in any way in the movie.
Oh god.
Yeah. So what about yourself? What are like? It doesn't have to be animated,
Yeah.
but it just that's what sprung to mind for me.
You mean a movie that other people really like but I hated?
Yeah.
Oh, it's difficult actually.
Well, even just a movie that you hated, but it can be one that other people liked as well.
Hate is such a strong word.
Okay, not hate,
Yeah.
but you
that I just didn't enjoy.
and maybe hate.
See, okay, so when I haven't seen it since, and I think I turned it off near not like halfway, but like 3/4 of the way through or something. It was the first, I think it was the first Halloween movie, like the original Halloween movie.
Oh, the horror.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because, but I think, because I was expecting it to be like terrifying, absolutely like, but it was. I'm thinking of it through. I'm seeing it through the eyes of someone who's seeing it in whenever I watched it, 2015, 16, whenever it was. But that movie came out in the 80s, so obviously it's going to be, it's inspired so much, and there's been so many copies of it, and horror's advanced like so much that's going to be probably boring in comparison. So that's why I think I didn't enjoy it.
Oh, so you're seeing like original Halloween
Yeah.
movie. Ah, okay.
And I just found it very, very boring, and I just turned it off. but I don't think I was watching it with in the right. I think when you watch a movie, you have to have a certain mindset.
Yeah, you do. You have to be a bit more open rather than not always expecting to see something. In the same way, like going to see the Tarantino movie.
Yeah.
If you go expecting something, you'll be let down.
Yeah. Because I mean, in that example, some like criticism that I heard where people said that they were waiting for the plot to start, like, because in a normal movie, or in a lot of movies nowadays, you you follow the plot by what the characters are saying. Like they'll explain, okay, this is what we're going to do, and then they go and do that, and that's how a lot of movies are structured. But this didn't follow that formula, and because people didn't get the formula that they're so used to, you can't really like appreciate it, I guess.
Yeah, they didn't like it.
Yeah, which is fine. I mean, if it's not for you, then it's not for you.
Yeah.
Obviously. But yeah, that's an example. But then again, I also watched the original Alien movie. I don't know how long ago now, and I really enjoyed that. But that's even slower, probably.
Really?
But I think with that, I had it in mind that this is going to be like I was expecting.
According to the time that it was made in.
Yeah. And even the effects are like. Some of them look really good, but some of them have not lasted well. Like you can clearly tell it's a guy in like a rubber suit.
Yeah.
But you think more so about how it was very, very innovative to do this at the time.
Yeah.
So no one had seen a movie like this before. It was like I think when we talked about an example before, maybe off camera, was Psycho.
Yeah.
And no one had seen, and when that first came out, obviously it seems so tame now.
But
then it was like
people were fainting
game-changing.
like in the cinema.
Yeah. So actually, I have another question kind of based on that. What do you think is the next change can you see anything that's going to be the next revolutionary step, I guess, in filmmaking? Like Psycho was like a benchmark in terms of horror. Maybe in terms of horror and other genres, what do you think is going to be the next thing?
Yeah, I mean, it's tricky. I think, many movies have kind of in recent years we've had so much of the like improved graphics, improved destruction scenes, like all those types, the role of computers in in movies, you know, the CGI effects and what have you. So much so now that it almost feels entirely real. Like they feel entirely. But I think what would be what I would like to see is kind of a change in the way. Maybe it won't go this way, but like kind of like how Tarantino, you know, changed his, you know, style away from a plot, like, and from, you know, just the usual plot, and the same way The Lighthouse is going back and using, you know, the black and white things. I want to see more. I mean, yeah, maybe it doesn't quite answer the question, or this is like slightly different as well. But this is what I would like to see personally, is like some really innovative changes and kind of things going more new ideas in film in terms of storytelling, in terms of like the use of other things other than what has been for a long time, like improved graphics, improved, you know, CGI, improved that, you know, that's something I would like to see in terms of experience of viewing movies. I suppose things like, you know, maybe things like VR, like but I can't see that happening on like anytime soon. But
yeah, I guess. But I mean, I feel like that if that is VR is maybe a different. But I kind of see it very akin to 3D, which was kind of just a phase.
Yeah,
like
I think it would be a phase. I think.
Maybe VR would be different if someone would figure out a way to make it very much part of the experience. Whereas 3D was just a tag on.
Yeah.
So we're already just annoying.
Yeah.
But if it was a way to make it interactive or something like that, then I guess that would work.
What do you think?
Yeah, I think there's going to be, I think there's kind of already started a bit of a renaissance of like practical effects and like you said, like black and white and stuff like that. So I think a lot of that is going to come back, but it's going to be used more like stylistically,
Exactly.
rather than out of necessity. Like there's no color, therefore we have to use black and white.
Yeah, I feel like people are getting a bit tired now, and audiences are catching on to the gimmicks and the tropes.
Yeah.
I mean, you're still going to get those movies which have it, but now, you know, we have audiences are a lot more selective with what they want to go and watch. Going to the cinema is expensive, you know. So nowadays, people can stay at home much more. You know, watch Netflix, watch movies at home. So I think, like you said, people want to see things which are different. They want to see things which are exciting and new, and kind of like, you know, Netflix now is just making so many movies. The BBC is making series and movies and their own mini series. So, like you said, I think really people want to see, and audiences like seeing these things, like you said, like kind of old style ideas, but applied in refreshing ways.
Definitely, yeah, I'd agree. The other thing I think that has already happened, and it's been, you know, going on for the last 10 years now, which I feel like Marvel are the only group that has done it really successfully, which is like the cinematic universe, was the idea of that multiple movies are connected into one universe. I don't know if it had really been done before that, but I think considering, I mean, a lot of people talk a lot of, they saw a lot, like the Marvel movies are kind of, they follow the same formula, same each time, but I think you do have to commend them on the fact that being the first people to attempt a cinematic universe and to be the only ones who have done it successfully and to such a great extent is quite an achievement. Which kind of goes back to one of your other questions, which was, what was your favorite movie of the year? And I think I would have to say Avengers Endgame. Of all the Marvel movies, it's not my favorite. And I would choose Avengers Infinity War over it, but just because of the way how it kind of closed that chapter of the whole series of movies, I think it was pretty, it lived up to the hype basically of what people's expectations were through the roof for those movies.
For Endgame, yeah. I mean, now it's the highest grossing movie of all time.
Exactly, yeah.
So, you know, you must really have, I mean, being the highest grossing movie obviously doesn't make a film good, but clearly, it's a massive achievement, the fact that it had that much interest and also had that much positive reviews. So yeah, again, actually, I haven't really followed the Marvel universe that well either. That's another thing which I need to do. But I have watched I've watched like a variety of the Marvel movies, and I would agree with that. I would agree with that.
But that being said, I don't think it's gonna last. If I'm honest, I feel like it's hit its peak. I think they'll have a few good movies. I think if they wanna. I don't know if it's a clever business strategy, because at the end of the day, it is a business. The whole thing is a business. But I feel like people are going to eventually lose interest and going to move on to whatever the next thing is.
Yeah, people always move on.
Yeah, but I think the only way they're going to be able to not stop that from happening, but keep people's interest, is if they change things up.
Yeah.
If they start becoming more creative.
Change the game in a different way. Instead of the Marvel universe, they need to come up with something else that distinguishes them.
Yeah, just not following the formula, basically.
Yeah.
I think they need to have, they could try different styles of filmmaking. Yeah, I mean, there's also R-rated superhero movies about things like Deadpool. I don't think they necessarily have to go that route, but I think maybe just trying things that aren't the typical formula of, either
plot,
good guy fights aliens or good guy fights evil version of his same character. Basically, just something very different.
Yeah, exactly.
Which they might have planned, because obviously they've already planned all their next movies for the next phase.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I think they need to, and it's about adding dimensions to the movies.
Yeah.
So, adding like a horror dimension, or adding more of whatever mystery dimension or sci-fi,
Absolutely.
and giving, rather than the typical movie arc and movie narrative for these movies.
I think an example that was done really well was Logan.
Yeah.
Because it's technically a superhero movie, but it very, very much felt kind of like a western.
Yeah.
Like a revenge story,
And it also, even at times, a bit of a thriller, actually. I actually felt like it was quite emotionally charged movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there were definitely horror elements to the movie. The villain was really horrific, and like some of the scenes were quite intense.
Yeah.
So I agree. Logan is one of my standout films of the last few years.
Yeah, definitely. That was pretty good.
Yep.
Did you have when I was looking through the movies that are coming out this year, there was actually a few more that I forgot to mention that I was looking forward to.
Yeah.
There's The Irishman. Have you heard of The Irishman? So it's the next movie coming from Martin Scorsese.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know Martin Scorsese? So he's done movies like Casino. He's done my favorite movie of all time, Goodfellas.
Mm-hmm.
He's done what else has he done? He's done loads of movies. The Aviator, and this is his next one, and it's got a lot of the old cast that he's familiar with working with. So Joe Pesci, Robert De Niro, Al Pacino.
And
So
what is the
actors.
general plot of the movie?
So it's about, I think it's about
What's it called again?
The Irishman. So I think it's about Al Capone, I believe.
Oh yeah, you might have sent me the trailer for it. I might have seen it.
Yeah. So it's basically about the mafia back in. Sorry, it's about Jimmy Hoffa, not Al Capone. About the mafia that were present in probably New York around that time, the trailer doesn't really reveal too much as to what happens, and I'm not too familiar with the history. But it's Martin Scorsese, and it's a gangster film, so it's from his previous movies, it could be very, very good. And that's coming that's directly to Netflix as well. I think it will probably have a cinematic release as well initially, but it will be on Netflix. And another movie is also the Breaking Bad movie.
Yeah. That was another thing I was gonna say. Yeah, they dropped like a trailer for that. Another trailer for that.
Did you watch it?
I haven't seen it yet. No, is it good?
It looks
I've seen the first trailer, but not this, like the teaser trailer.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen the one that they dropped the other day.
Yeah.
But that looks exciting. Is the and I think the Shining one, is that coming out later this year?
Yeah,
I think it
that
is.
well.
I think it's coming out 2019. I don't think it's coming out 2020.
Okay.
So that should be interesting.
Yeah. That could go either way, I think.
Yeah. That's what I'm a bit worried about, because obviously I think Stephen King has more of a role in. Stephen King has he's having more of a role in this movie, and I think his books, he's been able to write books that are very good, but I mean, whether he can transform that into a movie just because you're a good author, it doesn't mean that you're a good film, like transferring that to film.
Yeah.
And with The Shining by Stanley Kubrick, like obviously, it's well known Stephen King didn't like it.
Yeah.
But I mean, the movie is just fantastic.
Yeah.
So
He actually made his own miniseries.
yeah,
as
and
well.
it was terrible. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so maybe we should stick to, I don't know, writing. as
Yeah,
opposed to behind
yeah,
the camera.
yeah.
But I mean, it depends how much creative control he was given.
Yeah,
I mean, at the end of the day, it's his stories, so he knows it better than anyone. But
yeah,
maybe he's not very good at translating that to film.
yeah. I
that
think
is
so.
a
It's
skill, so-
it's a completely different skill.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But we'll see. We'll see. I'm optimistic.
yeah. Hopefully that'll be good. Yeah, probably. I think we've been speaking like 40 minutes now.
Yeah.
But there's one last question
Sure.
we can do. Otherwise, it'll probably turn into like another really long,
Yeah.
long one. So yeah, my question is, what do you? This is a bit maybe more of a deep question. What do you think like the primary purpose of like a film is? Do you think it's to entertain, or do you think it's to give like the person a message, or do you think films should have messages in them, or what do you think?
That is a deep question. I think it's whatever the director or the people involved are trying to achieve, if that makes sense. So if their aim is purely to entertain, and I'm entertained by the movie, then the movie did what it was expected to do. I don't think every movie has to have a message, but if that is what the director is or the people involved are trying to achieve, and they do that effectively, then again that's a good film, an example of a good film. So I think film is such a varied art form. It's got so many elements involved in it that it can be whatever whoever's making it wants it to be, really. So I mean, yeah, it really just depends on what the intention behind making the movie was. I would say that would be my answer. What about you?
Yeah, I would agree. I think there's nothing wrong with making a film simply for entertainment purposes,
Yeah.
because people need to switch off and just kind of, there might be a message behind it. I think people like, as in like, not even, I mean, the director may have not even kind of intended it to be a message, but the audience picks up on a message, as in
Yeah.
like, in something like Happy Gilmore or whatever, the primary purpose is probably to entertain the audience, but the audience picks up a message of, oh yeah, like the underdog or working hard or whatever, blah, 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 which is, I suppose, more of like a transient message, as in like when you watch a movie like that, you feel good for a bit and then whatever. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think, people need stuff like that. Movies also like an escapism.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good thing. But on the same token, like of course, like a film such as 12 Angry Men, some of the films we've analysed already, like 12 Angry Men and First They Killed My Father. Other films such as Capanaceum, what was the one that you watched?
Oh, yeah, Cape Nome or something like that.
Yeah, like about the refugee, I think it was.
Yeah.
Are films where the director has a message they want to give across. It's meaningful, and there I would just repeat exactly what you said.
Yeah. I think just because a movie has a message doesn't mean it isn't entertaining.
Yeah,
It can be very, very entertaining.
Exactly, yeah.
And also get a message across.
they're not mutually exclusive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think something every film should aim to do, just as a movie goer, not someone with no expertise whatsoever, is it should aim to try to have you on board, if that makes sense. So make you believe, basically transport you into the world that they're trying to create.
Yeah.
And if you believe what you're seeing, then you'll go along for the ride.
Mm.
But if you don't, then you'll just clock out basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
Although I haven't seen it, Lord of the Rings is a great example of that.
Yeah.
That people very much believe what they're seeing on the screen, and therefore that makes you care for the characters and you understand their logic and what they're trying to do and why they're trying to do it.
Yeah.
And therefore you root for your protagonist and you care for their aim and what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
Basically.
And in many ways, like, it sounds really cliche, but the characters do become very real, in the sense that, like, I went to the Harry Potter studios, I think it was last year, actually, and honestly, I would really recommend. Have you been?
No.
I would really recommend it. Like, I would, like, I couldn't recommend it more. When you go there and you see, like, all the amount of effort put into making the characters, like, people, like, have stitched, like, the clothes, like, are really creative, and how they've so much thought has gone into, like, the characters. They're, like, how they dress, their accessories, sketches, like, their like, rooms, like, how they are. All of this is there, and the scenes also, how they kind of correlate to the characters, how they sit in the scenes, and especially when I went there, it made them feel even more real. And they're not real, but it really brings you think of them still as real characters. Like when people say Harry Potter or Hermione Granger or Dumbledore, they actually feel less sometimes more like real. They feel real in the sense. Do you see what I mean? And
yeah, that's true. And I guess with such a mystical and fictional story, that's even more important. And all those little things that what you're saying about the clothing, like specific things to do with the clothing, where the characters sit, it all does pay off in the end. To the grand scheme of things, because I've seen the Harry Potter movies, not that many, maybe each of them a few times. I have a clear idea in my head as to what the scenes look like, just because aesthetically it's so cohesive, and it's so memorable, that you remember it.
And you can place yourself in the world.
Yeah.
You can place yourself in Hogwarts, or you can place yourself on the grounds, or imagine yourself there and think of it as a real entity, which shows that. Same with I have with Lord of the Rings, that So yeah, I would agree with that about creating a world which is engaging, and the audience wants to be involved in the story and spend their time engaging with the characters.
Absolutely, yeah.
So yeah, on that note,
all right, yeah,
do you want to?
That was a good little something a bit different.
Yeah, it was a bit different. A lot more natural flow there. Like, not that it's not natural usually, but
just
off the cuff.
A general chit chat.
Yeah.
So if you enjoyed that video, consider subscribing and giving us a like. And if you like this format, let us know in the comments, and maybe we'll do it again sometime. Other than that, thank you very much, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.